The podcast you're about to listen to may contain objectionable language, adult and/or immature content, mentions of Jesus Christ, and unironic readings of holy Christian scriptures. If any of this is likely to offend you in a manner that you find less than enjoyable, maybe don't listen.
Hi, I'm Pastor Bob Schaefer.
And I'm Pastor Erick Damon. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome to a Comedians with Pastors Talking Bible short take.
That's right. We are still weekly with short takes this season.
Yeah, that short take is kind of taken, and we are taken with it. We're putting some slightly irreverent, maybe funny, and maybe thought-provoking commentary out there every single week. Still doing the gospel text for the upcoming Sunday in the Revised Common Lectionary, and we are still doing it with comedians.
Yeah, but every other week we drop the introductory banter with featured comics, and we jump right into the scriptures with our resident comic theologians.
I'm Erick Williams.
And I'm Abby Evans.
We are not the pastors.
Our individual backgrounds play a big role in how we hear and understand literally everything in life, but especially important things like faith and the Bible. Erick and I are both pastors in the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. It's a tradition that confesses the Bible as the inspired Word of God and the authoritative source and norm for our proclamation and our teaching of Jesus Christ, which is fancy church talk for saying that we respect the Bible. We love it. We claim it as our own, but it is the thing that interprets us and points us to Jesus, but not the other way around. Jesus is the thing that matters. I think I might not have said that as clearly as Erick would have liked.
We're good. It was good. It was clear enough.
That was so gracious.
And we've got and thank you to Abby and Erick for doing this for the whole season. Hopefully, we might have you back. Well, we still got a few episodes left in this season. But you've been respectful, insightful, and most importantly, and most likely they show up every now and then. Most importantly, funny. So thanks for doing that with us.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you.
What are we talking about this week, Bob?
We are talking about the 6th Sunday after Pentecost. That's easy for you to say, for Sunday, July 20th. And our gospel reading is from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 10. Here it is. Now, as Jesus and his disciples went on their way, he entered a certain village where a woman named Martha welcomed him into her home. She had a sister named Mary who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to what he was saying. But Martha was distracted by her many tasks. So she came to him and asked, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her then to help me." But the Lord answered her, "Martha, Martha, you are worried and distracted by many things. There is need of only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, which will not be taken from her."
All right, so this one is a real... I just have to get it off my chest. The normal reading of this one is that Martha is obviously such a good, dedicated person, and if she would just understand what importance it was to sit with Jesus, she would set aside all of it. And my knee-jerk reaction is, I hate the Marthas when they invite you to your house and they sit you down in a little chair like you got to sit there as a good boy while they're more busy trying to get all the hosting, catering things done. I want to show up and sit in your kitchen, grab beers out of the fridge, and BS where we don't care about how dirty it is. That's a good host that cares that I showed up as a good friend. You're putting the nice tablecloths out and crap just makes me uncomfortable. But
how do you really
I'm done
feel,
yelling
Erick?
and ranting
Martha
now.
was definitely she definitely had the kind of parents when she'd be like, "I'm bored," and she's like, "Go clean the fucking oven."
That's
Like Martha has never. Martha is. While you hate the Marthas, I I resonate with the Marthas. Like, that is a people pleaser. Like, that is someone who is focused too much on making sure everyone is taken care of, that they forget to take care of themselves, and they realize that they hadn't really been taking care of everyone because they're trying to reach society's expectation right off the bat. This is a hot one.
We are ranting. That is all we're doing today.
I feel personally attacked by your attacking of the Marthas, actually, because we had people over this week. Abby had people over for a planning session, and I barely interacted with them while I made food for 3 hours.
And when he did interact, we would yell at him because it is not the help's job.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the servant, that's different. Martha is the host, not the servant. I mean, you were supposed to stay in your place, little boy.
That's actually a direct quote from the evening.
But no, I mean, I have had. I won't name names, but I've had there's a person who I am specifically thinking of that was rather financially well off, and he liked to sit you down in one of his very nice dining room chairs and set something in front of you and feel like he was being such a good host. And the entire time you felt like it was a museum piece of hosting and not any welcome at all. Where the Mary, who, okay, we got out some food and I'm going to sit here and hang out with you. I mean, that is, to me, that's more hospitality than just putting out the good wine and the good food.
Yeah, have you ever been to someone's house and it looks like a hotel? Like, I don't want to sit here.
I mean, it used to be back when we were kids. I don't know if people still do this, but they'd put the plastic covers on the furniture. And is that a thing anymore, or is that like just totally an 80s?
I think in the 80s, that was how you identified the people that would be diagnosed with autism 20 years later by their therapist.
That is fair. And you know, things were different, though, back in the 80s. I mean, like in meaningful ways with architecture, that when you think about the hospitality spaces that older homes have that newer built houses don't. I grew up in houses that had a proper dining room. And, you know, this was a room that had a table that you only sat at a few times a year. And the room looked nice, and it was kind of a special place. And there was a living room. And so when you came into the house, you would enter into these sort of semi-public spaces. And now when you think about the spaces that people have in modern houses, you've got a den or a man cave, someplace deep in the house where you retreat from public life and you don't encounter people. You go there to be by yourself or with your intimates. You don't have a formal dining room because people don't have formal dining events in their homes in the same way.
Or you have a dining room, but you can't even find the dining room table because it's covered with like bills and.
Yes, it no longer serves.
Just called my parents out.
Okay, but you also could have just called us out.
and it's the same way that you might have built a house in the past with a porch out front, where it was a semi-public area that you could receive people, and now you have a deck out back. You know, that the way we do architecture has changed what hospitality looks like. And Eric, I hear you saying you don't want to sit in the dining room. You would like to sit, maybe not in the man cave either.
There is a place for a dining room if you are formally hosting events, and the people who sit there are formally invited to come. But those are not the people to whom you are showing true hospitality. The people that end up sitting with you in the kitchen talking until the wee hours of the night are the ones that are really welcomed into your home. Sitting out in the formal space, I mean, that's
it's
rich.
Sanitized.
Yeah, and to me, and there's where there, especially maybe it's part of the church lens of things, but people whose spiritual gift, and I'm doing air quotes if you're not watching on YouTube, is hospitality, tend to be labeled as the people who put out the good cloths and cook the good meal. The Marthas are the ones whose spiritual gift is hospitality. And to me, it's the Marys that make you feel welcome. The one that actually says, we prepared before this, but now you're here. and you're who I've been waiting for, is who makes you feel welcome. The person who says, the event tonight is more important than you, doesn't make me feel welcomed.
So I feel like Martha sometimes, though, gets short shrift. I mean,
that's intentionally what I'm doing. I am bashing
He doesn't
Martha.
like Martha.
But go ahead and come to her defense.
I will give her long shrift. What she is doing is an act of love, and it is a gift of service, and it is no less a sign of her devotion to Jesus than what Mary is doing. It's a different way of showing that. But it is, I think, Martha's. All right, now this is going to sound cheesy. It's her love language, right? Acts of service is Martha's love language, and Mary's love language is quality time. Oh my gosh! I just totally went there.
If we're gonna stay there, that's my love language would be the quality time, and you can. I don't need a servant.
Which love language is Jesus's love language?
Well, I mean, he seems to like Mary too. Me and Jesus are on a. But
do you guys know the whole love languages thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I have some familiarity with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think Jesus is definitely a quality time kind of dude.
I don't know. I feel like he could be totally up there with acts of service, though. I mean, the whole cross thing is.
But what is Martha's love language? Because would it be acts of service if she's just because hosting isn't a love language?
Yeah.
From what I'm aware, I guess.
Well, are the acts of service sincere? Are they actually for the visitors, or are they selfish? Are they for the host own gratification, as Eric was talking about with the guy who was like, welcome to my museum of how much money I have?
And I think, I mean, in Martha's defense, I think she is honestly trying to pull out the best she can offer for Jesus to come over. I mean, Mary and Martha biblically have more roles than this, and they both have a close and intimate relationship with Jesus, in an intimate being personal and not intimate in the biblical sense. But
also, this isn't just some dude. Like, this is Jesus Christ coming into your home. Like, it's not like Jebediah from down the street popping over for a beer after work. Like, this is the Son of God. Show some goddamn respect.
Well, and for them, the Son of God, they both will recognize Jesus's power, but also just a very close friend.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. That to me, Martha is authentic in her offering. It's just not an offering that I personally find as being hospitable, but I wouldn't bash her as she's trying to show off for Jesus. I mean, they have a close friendship with him, and she is legitimately upset that her sister is not helping in what she thinks needs to be done.
I just want to say, I had no clue that the Washingtons were in the Bible.
But also, like, Jesus can turn water into wine. What's Martha's part be? Like, everyone wants to feel special.
I'm picturing Jesus like the sorcerer's apprentice, getting all of the mop buckets to but, interestingly, there is a third sibling in this household who isn't even mentioned at all. Brother Lazarus. He is neither helping with the chores, nor does he seem to be sitting down and listening.
Well, in his defense, he's dead.
Not yet.
Not yet.
See, that spoilers.
He'll get there. But yes, this is in fact the right Mary, Martha, and Lazarus that you are thinking of.
Were the parents drunk for that last one?
For Lazarus being dead?
No, Mary, Martha, and Lazarus, that's an easy game of one of these things. It's not like the other.
It's the John Mulaney joke that's like every Bible story has some dude with a weird name and his wife is just Rachel. Like, this is like,
I mean, our names come from the Bible. So you've got flip that lens, and the bigger question is, why did Lazarus not take off as a popular name?
That's Lazarus is a cool ass name.
Because he died twice.
Because
And nobody wants to have to fret about dying a second time.
I think also the simple answer is because when we go back and we look at the life expectancy over the years, it's like much shorter in previous centuries, but it's not because grown adults lived that much shorter. It's because of the rate of child mortality. I think that's why most people didn't name their kid Lazarus. Like, oh, let's name our kid after the one that famously died.
He did famously come back.
But to be fair, they all died.
That's really hopeful.
That's it's kind of like it's not. It's about. Some people say it's about the journey. I say it's about the destination. He came back, so let's.
He did have to die again, though.
But that's where we're all going. So
I'm so Mary, Martha, and Michael just makes it sound so nice. Bob, I want to say you are correct. Now is a much different time than it was in the 80s. Like in the 80s, we had a president in the White House who got there basically on right-wing populism and their fame from TV and movie appearances. And they ran on the slogan, "Make America Great Again." Luckily, nothing like that is happening right now.
Yeah, our first lady isn't even a throat goat. That's disgraceful. We used to be a proper country.
Nancy Reagan. I just want to remember her as the nice lady who showed up on different strokes and told us not to do drugs.
I mean,
totally
I
lost on you millennials over there.
Both her telling people to not do drugs and being on different strokes track with her history.
I'll laugh at that one.
That was a thinker. That one was a thinker.
I had a pause before catching on to what you were saying, before deciding I'm not going to comment on it.
You know who's
Some of Erick's jokes are growers, not showers.
Oh. See, that's why I decided not to comment on it. I'd have said something like that, Bob. And I choose not to. That's a choice too, you know.
You chose the better part.
So you just said no?
I did.
My favorite thing about Nancy Reagan is she is responsible for the all-star animation. Oh, do you guys know what I'm talking? There was an anti-drug cartoon from the late 80s, early 90s that had like Bugs Bunny and everyone from Warner Brothers and like maybe the Teenage Mutant Ninja, and basically every cartoon character that you loved as a child in the late 80s and early 90s that was probably created by someone on drugs showed up to tell you the dangers of doing drugs.
Huh. And then that turned into Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Very weird. Very...
Right. So, for anybody listening who's going to try and preach on this, I don't think it preaches to just insult Martha.
No,
it definitely doesn't preach to just talk about Nancy Reagan's bedroom habits.
Hey, it wasn't necessarily always in the bedroom.
Okay.
She's both a Martha and a Mary.
That's a euphemism, Eric.
What is autism, Eric?
But, so, I mean...
Well, we could think a little bit, too, about, Martha is doing the thing that is socially required of her. I mean, Mary is kind of being negligent. There are expectations within the culture, and whether those things are fair or not is maybe not always the point. Throughout the Bible, you've got these really extravagant displays of hospitality, and like in the Abraham stories, it's a man who is making all of it happen. So it doesn't seem like it is strictly gender based, but there is the expectation when you have guests that they are shown a certain kind of hospitality, and Martha's doing that, and Mary is she's more taken with the teaching, which. I feel like I'm coming down hard on Mary now, like I'm shaming her, and I don't wish to do that. I think they both made good choices, and I wish Jesus. Well, so Jesus doesn't exactly say, "Martha, you've done wrong." He just says, "This other thing is maybe better."
With you mentioning Abraham in the Bible, I'm wondering, just how close we got to having Lazarus Lincoln as president. And would have he come back?
Probably.
That would
Probably
have been.
very close to having a Lazarus Lincoln. Mrs. Lincoln would have liked the alliteration. But it's, I mean, you bringing up the societal roles. I mean, now we're getting closer to something that might actually preach when Jesus, as is Jesus's way, opens the doors for people to serve and live in ways that the cultural regulations would not allow.
Because Mary is doing the thing that would be more typical of the male disciples, sitting at the teacher's feet.
And it would have been, I mean, not in the house of Lazarus with Jesus. This group understood that Mary and Martha had a right there. But telling the story in the gospel of a group that understood that Mary had a right to sit there, that kind of removed sense is where I would find the cultural pushback. Is somebody felt that this was a story that needed to actually be explained to people, that it is not just the men who sit and learn these lessons, that Mary had a right, a duty, and Jesus even says made the better choice to sit where society would have said she isn't allowed. And that's because Jesus does that all the time throughout the Gospels. People say that you can't do this X, Y, or Z because that's not your role. And Jesus is, I mean, I'm God. I say whose roles are what.
Hey, what do you guys think happens after this story? I mean, we don't really know what
Well,
comes
Lazarus
next, but,
dies.
That does happen afterwards.
down the road, yes. But like in this dinner, what comes next? I mean, what does Martha do?
Hors
What does Mary
d'oeuvres, a
do?
charcuterie board.
I don't know. Maybe Mary or Martha was like, "Well, Jesus, you don't get the first helping of spinach dip." I don't know.
One of them massages his feet, right?
No.
No.
That would be a different person.
Okay.
There are lots of Marys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you think that Martha sits down next to Mary and starts listening to the teaching?
Yeah, but she's also probably thinking like, "Fuck, I gotta wash those dishes," or like, "God damn it, I forgot to put out the charcuterie."
I mean,
Like she can't fully relax and think
there's-
about what Jesus is saying because there's so much to do.
I am with the in some sense to the magic washing of dishes. I mean, when her brother does die, when we get to that point in the story, hey, she's real able to just bitch Jesus out for you could have stopped him from dying, but heaven forbid you keep a dish clean for me. I mean, it seems like that would have been the lowest of expectations you could have had.
I do wonder, Jesus, did he effectively remove a burden from Martha, a barrier that kept her from being able to choose the better part? Did he set her free?
Or did he just shame her?
Or did he just shame her? I mean, I don't think that is his way, that he would just be shaming her. And so I have to think that what he is about, what he's trying to do, is to open the door to her if she is willing to go there. And that makes me wonder, like, what are the things that distract us from Jesus? I mean, that's the simple, easy application here, right? Is, what are the things that I am all busy and distracted by? Obviously. I mean, look around this room at all of the crap that's involved to set up and make this podcast happen. I am busy and distracted with lights and cameras and action.
And a map of Australia that the viewers cannot see, but there are beautiful animated animals all over it, and a boomerang.
Are they animated? I feel like that's a substance you may have
Illustrated.
consumed. Yes, that's better.
Yeah, if they are animated for you, Eric, I need to remind you that we are in a church as we record this. So you may find God.
I mean, por qué no los dos? Why can't you do both? Why can't you listen to Jesus talk while you're washing dishes? Like, it's a podcast.
That's right. It's like the open concept sort of a thing, right? It's all supposed to be so that you can be hosting and receiving all at the same time as you're interacting with your guests. Eric, you are
I'm making a
unimpressed.
face. No, I got that scene from The Big Chill in my head now, and I want it out.
I'm sorry?
I've never
The
seen
scene where
The
they're
Big
singing.
Chill.
Oh, they're singing a song and rocking out and washing dishes together.
Also,
and
if
it was-
Martha's so stressed, Jesus and Mary can help out. Like, what are they doing? I mean, Jesus is doing something, but he can do both. He can perform miracles. God forbid he can help set the table. You know.
I just know The Big Chill is the movie that Kevin Costner is in dead the whole time.
I don't even know that much about it.
Okay.
I have the annoying dishwashing scene.
I didn't know it was a movie, so
It's a movie from the 80s. A bunch
Real
of
early
old friends
80s,
are
though.
brought together by a funeral of Kevin Costner, and there were supposed to be flashback sequences in which he's alive, I believe, but they got cut from the final take. I want to say Jeff Goldblum's in it. I've never seen this movie. What is autism?
But I'm just thinking now about this. Jesus is a guy who does food miracles, right?
Yeah.
This is the guy who takes little tiny morsels of bread and fish, and he makes enough for hundreds of people.
Okay, but also in the
So all
context
he
of the
can
time,
do is multiply, and he can't divide and clean. Is that what the takeaway is?
I feel like he could have done some. He could have made some wine. He could have made some fish. Could have made some bread.
But if I'm Martha and I have people and I'm slaving away having people over my house and people are like, "Oh my God, Martha, this is so delicious," and Jesus is like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot to bring. Here's some wine." I'd be like,
maybe
performing
Martha
miracles
is a
in
show
my
off.
house?
Maybe she's like, "Oh Jesus, I can do bread better than you can."
Quality over quantity, baby.
Did you just do the?
I did, and you actually did it better than me.
That's because yeah.
You're like, I'm not going to
No,
explain
no,
why.
I'm not. We'll
for
just
for those listening on the podcast, they are snapping in a sassy way.
In the Z, it's the Z.
Don't make me snap my fingers in a juicy
I am the
formation,
sassiest toast.
exclamation.
I might even be zassy. That is the sound of a stinker landing.
The
I feel like we have some serious George Santos energy right now.
That's unfortunate.
we are approaching time for the episode.
We're going to end with George Santos
I think
energy.
I think we have at least brushed by a few worthy things to discuss. I mean, the cultural freedom given to Mary, the understanding that there's different ways we can serve. I mean, despite my beginning with a rant about Martha, I did walk that back to say I think she is authentically trying to do right.
With the Santos reference, and I understand you walked back your initial comments about Martha, but did Jesus think that Martha was being performative or dismissive of the people in front of her with her actions?
So there's in biblical language, like study, there's something called exegesis and eisegesis. Exegesis is where you pull the meaning out of the text, which is what we're supposed to try and do. I would say jamming in some understanding that Martha was not at least attempting to serve authentically would be eisegesis.
Okay.
There's nothing in the Gospels. I mean, Martha is very closely entwined with Jesus and the disciples' lives, and there's, a very close friend. He feels greatly for her when Lazarus dies. I find it very difficult to have the reading of this passage be that he is as harsh with her as I was in the beginning.
That makes sense. You are not Jesus.
That is,
And that is where we're going to leave things.
All
is
right.
that
All
Eric
right.
is not
I
Jesus.
am not Jesus. Preach that one, folks.
So we would like to know, where are we going to find Eric and Abby coming up here in the week before July 20th? Anything going on? Or hit us with your socials.
Follow me at It's Abby E on all socials.
July 26th, I am very excited to be hosting the comedy party at Ernie B's Rock and Roll Barber Shop, 321 Butler in Etna. And then September 6th. That's that Saturday, unless I'm dyslexic and it's the 9th, but I'm pretty sure it's September 6th. I will be opening for Zach Funk as he records his second album at Mr. Small's Funhouse in Millville, both just north of the Lawrenceville neighborhood in Pittsburgh.
And we are at CPTB Pod, at CPTB POD. Say that 10 times fast. Find us on all of the social media stuff. So thank you to everybody out there who is still listening. If you're offended, so sorry.
Yeah, but you listened. I tell you this every time. It's your fault.
Didn't you hear the sarcasm in my voice this time?
I didn't.
It was there.
Okay.
It was there.
I'm glad.
All right. It was there. And so you are still there too. So do us a favor. Be sure to subscribe to CPTB wherever you get your podcasts. Share it with your family, your friends, your pastors, anyone you think might enjoy this.
Find any way you can to get it on other people's devices. We will take inanimate listeners.
We are unethical that way, but we'll be back next week with some featured comics that we get to know and see how they approach the gospel text.
Until then, may the Holy Spirit do her thing in your life.